Hello and welcome to Resident Evil Deep Dive, the show where I'm experiencing as much Resident Evil content as I can every single day of October. Today, we're looking at Resident Evil 5. Let's get started. I had heard in the past that this game marked a turning point in Resident Evil history as the entry that started leaning far too much into action. I tend to agree. Of all of the games I've played so far, this one feels the least like a Resident Evil game, whatever that has come to mean. I just feel like I was playing a standard third-person shooter. A lot of the scares and even more complicated puzzles are dumbed down or non-existent in this game, and I think that contributes a lot to that feeling. The biggest detail I feel, though, has the same sand poop brown filter on it that almost every single mature game had during this era. It just doesn't feel like the game has its own visual identity, which is something that's fairly common in Resident Evil games. The story itself was boring. I never think the story in Resident Evil is its strong suit, but this one felt even less fleshed out. Even so much so that coming off of playing the Darkside Chronicles, I feel like this story was just another variation of the same concept. Drug lord terrorist unleashes a new bioweapon in an impoverished town, hilarity ensues. I've heard this all before. I will say, I like the dynamic between Chris and Shiva. I was worried when I saw there was a partner shooter, as I generally find that the AI in these kind of games is very primitive when it comes to playing it as a single-player title. But I actually think Shiva was well developed in this case. I enjoyed that she could actually perform tasks and kill enemies on her own, which seems like the bare minimum if you think about it, but you'd be surprised how often a partner AI is incapable of that. See my Operation Raccoon City video a few days ago. She even was fairly quick to help me and heal me when needed, which as a Kingdom Hearts fan, I'm very much not used to in a partner. I really didn't like the controls at first. I tried to switch them around in the menu, but all of the different control schemes had aspects I really didn't like, so eventually I settled on the default one. Nothing on the controller felt intuitive, and I constantly found myself doing stuff like quick turning when I wanted to do a run, and the pointer of my gun was so small that I had a hard time finding where I was aiming because it also tended to blend into the enemies and backgrounds. By default, the camera controls are so sensitive. I had no idea why they included the change viewpoint option either, because this is even worse than the free camera controls that I just mentioned. I did eventually get used to them, but it was a hard start trying to figure out where all my fingers had to go and stay to play the game correctly. I didn't really like this one all that much. It wasn't bad, just not really what I wanted it to be, especially coming off of the opening moments of Resident Evil 4 and its story and characters. I think this game is a decent and even good shooter, but not really a good Resident Evil game. I heard that 6 is even more in this direction, so I'll be intrigued to see how I feel about that one. What did you think of Resident Evil 5? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe while you're down there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.